Hi, Rick Harsh here at the behest of, uh, is it the behest of? No, it's not. Anyway, sponsored by Saver Guitars and at the behest of anyone who wants to hear this, which is a review of Gary Amdahl's The Creative Writers. Don't be scared. This isn't one of our books. In other words, it's not a Corona Samizdat book, but there is a Corona Samizdat connection. This is put out by Galleon Books, which I need to know more about. It's my first Galleon book. It was a gift of from Lee Thompson. Uh, I, I wanted to order it, and he it ruined his surprise. He had sent it already, and well, so I got it, and I had it's one of those books you start hearing mumblings about it, and you think, God damn, I got to get it. It's an Amdahl, and look, it's James Enzor's work on the front. Um, good good stuff, good stuff, um, and um, the creative writers. What an interesting topic for an old fart like Gary Amdahl to pick up on. And at the same time, now this book, the main character, well, there's a mainish character, but it's kind of a group that are bound together in their hijinks and travels and so on. One of them, it starts out, it's a an adjunct professor and creative writing professor, and and in the first chapter, he I don't want to say, he has comic problems, and now we are coming out with two books about an adjunct professor uh, by Alex Kudera. Both have been published before, I believe, but they're out of print. We'll take them, and they're very. There's a group of Canadian types. Gary Amdahl's a Canadian type, and the W.D. Clark is another one, and I think it was W.D. Clark who was raving about Alex Kudera's book. So, uh, books maybe I think because there are two of them. Uh, but anyway, let's talk about that one later. I want to do a relatively short review here, um, which I often say, and then I can't manage. But I can in this case because what I'm going to say is that you read the first chapter and you think, okay, we're going to be following George. I think his name is George. It was. I started reading something else. Um, Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, uh, just to prove it. Black Vellum by Ansgar Allen, which I'll be doing a review of relatively soon. It's short, but it's not the kind of thing you rush through because it's a thinking man's book, and this is a thinking man's book, but you don't have to think. I mean, it's there, there are references to Hanna Barbera, a burlesque. It's called The Creative Writers, and it's a burlesque of the imagination on totalitarian themes in the manner of Emile Cole and Les Incohérents, Harry Everett Smith, and Hanna Barbera by Gary Amdahl, Galleon Press. So um, that's what I read, and I just think looks to me like it's going to be about the academic, anti-academic, an academic comedy, because in the first chapter, our man George has some problems with a student. He goes too far, but he has his reasons, of course. But the book isn't. That's just the way the book just explodes into existence, and it really does explode into existence. It's that kind of book. But then I got to page 72, having all kinds of fun with it. I'm letting it take me wherever it goes. There are characters representing yin and yang, and I think you best let Gary um, explain it to you. But it's yin and yang. So, but they're characters, and they're called super yin and super yang. Um, that might be the kind of thing that maybe they've made it into the Marvel universe. I don't know. Hanna-Barbera, next step is Marvel, right? But anyway, I got to page 72, and I read it. I thought, this is pure Chandler Brossard. And I'll read it to you, and you can see what. I don't remember even who's talking, and I don't want to look it up on your time. So I was a fat little girl, fat teenager, just a little butterball. Now look at me, lean and mean as a pterodactyl. I'm trying to. It's hard to see you, like in a dream where it's too bright or too dark to see. Look at those portraits over there on the far wall. Gustav Klimt and Walt Disney. They could be brothers, no? I guess so, yes. They are brothers. They fucked and produced me. That's hard to believe. Is it? Is it really? You'd better start in on believing, Sonny. I do believe you, I do. Do you know what I'm going to do with your little stories? No, I. What? What are you going to. You seem frightened, you poor little thing. Poor idle thing. I'm not. I just. Don't be my smooth and tender boy. I'm an artist, not a harpy. I'm going to take the fabulous fables of the folk and yoke them to your clean, well lighted reality. It's not my reality, for Christ's sake. Don't be scared. There now. I'm not. I just. Sometimes I live in the trees like a bird, like St. Christina the Astonishing, and eat snakes. But now I'm just Anne, and I'm lonely. She descends screaming like a raptor on George, who wiggles and squeaks in her talons and has a record number of orgasms, one every 5 minutes for an hour. Anne holds him and lifts gently from the bed, levitating in a peace that is markedly melancholy, almost sorrowful in its acknowledgment of the fleeting nature of pleasure, the acknowledgment of the uselessness of desire for pleasure as the wheel spins and shadows fall. It's a trick she learned from Tarkovsky. That has just reminded me so much of Broussard. So there's a wacky plot, and the creative writers. We don't get a long drawn out description of how it became so, but they become a powerful organization, and I think that's where you get the totalitarian themes. But the interesting thing about this is that within all the wackiness, there are lengthy now and again lengthy pieces of dialogue that are really funny and interesting and actually on the mark, as they say. I'm going to try to. Well, this isn't actually the same thing, but I'm going to. I marked one here. Someone from there. There's well, I'll read it like this and see if it makes sense. To make sure they're in step with big sloganeering, caps, they form tight rank and file marching postures. These are the creative writers. At regular intervals and shout that they are inclusive and diverse. When they are ignored or belittled, they are encouraged to become truculent and threatening. Because quite a lot is at stake, and people need to be shook and shook hard until they wake up. And then we get this, what you're supposed to yell when you're in a crowd, and maybe it's more a protest than a riot. But creative writing is the only way, assholes. You can either get with the program now of your own free will and good sense, or you can be dragged into a re-education camp. One way or the other, it's going to happen. In our spacious dormitories, it's air conditioned and you can watch sports. Hey, asshole, I'm talking to you. In our re-education camps, there's no air conditioning, and you can't watch sports. Oh, yeah, fuck you too. Have you ever had creativity forced on you? It's a lot like having joy forced on you. Not pretty. You feel joyless and stupid until, like tortured dogs, you become helpless and begin to learn all over again. You shit sucking pinheads. How to be happy, a happy and successful creative writer, swaying and moaning and tidying up next to the angels in the choir of creatives in heaven, where Saint Len of Berner meets you at the gates and everybody gets six-figure advances. Come on, people. Don't make us mad at you. We love you. One day, a brawl breaks out between the creative writers and a small but heavily armed group rallying under a banner with these words from a Bruce Springsteen song: "The poets down here don't write nothing at all. They just stand back and let it all be." And on and on. Oh, well, a minimum wage news gatherer is clobbered over the head by a 40-year-old female creative writer and mother of two dressed as Captain Kirk. Anyway, that gives you a little bit of the range here. And I think I had one more thing to. Oh, you will pay a price for it. Happy to, you cryptozoological territorn. Just a little bit. And then we have I see a bullet snug in its chamber, a spermatozoa of death. This is that's from the end monologue. It's not. Here's another one. The Bible itself is just a latrine of willful mistranslations and bullshit commentary, but that's just because of the yin and yang of things. That's from the more or less the Molly Bloom part of the book. But anyway, this is just it's really it's brilliant, and it's someone who took his Yahtzee cup of brilliant dice and shook it and kept shaking it, and once in a while one would fly out, and you just never know what is coming next. And so it's I think it's you could call it a brilliant absurd novel, and with fantastic moments, and never a dull one. So Gary Amdahl, here's to you, pal. I'm going to send it back to you in case you need more readers. Well, bye. Bye.